part one of this as well. You know, it all kind of leads into just having a healthier being all the time and not getting sick, like you're saying as well.
Mm.
I was curious because one aspect I think is really important for musicians is setting goals, realistic goals, and then second, and it's such a hard part, is musicians comparing themselves to others, and it's. I mean, I've had numerous conversations with different musicians where, like, oh, but they're there. I want to get to them, but I don't know how to. Or, oh, fuck, they got that position on that festival I wanted to get, or oh, if only I had the money that they had, or and it's constant comparison, and it's it's so tough because yes, you're in the same industry, you might be in the same genre, you might be the same age, you might work with some of the same people, but just because it works for them in that way does not mean it's going to work for you. So the comparison is a nightmare. How do you talk about that? In the managing expectations part, do you also talk about comparison as well?
Yeah, so we've got a whole chapter on criticism and opinions, which covers some elements of comparison. And also we cover comparison quite a bit in social media. And there's some really useful strategies in there for trying to get yourself out of that mindset, which is easier said than done. But one of them is just knowing that what you're seeing on social media is the highlights, and images. There's a great quote from a social media expert who's like, images are basically cartoons, and that can be really true. Like, the amount of filters that people use, it's just not real at all. And someone's win, like, you don't know what it took to get that win. You don't know the amount of disappointments that went into getting them to that place. And this is something I also think about in terms of like writing a book or even writing articles. Like, you say, oh wow, they've got all these amazing interviewees, or they've got all this support, but you didn't see the amount of interviewees that said no. Like, I'm researching an article at the moment, and oh my god, the amount of musicians that have said no, like, I must be up to 20 or 30 at this point. And I've got 4 interviewees now, but it took me such a long time to get there. And that can be true in the music world too. Like, so realizing that everyone's life is a totally independent path, that's just pointless to covet. And also thinking about like what your energy is being used for and what it's being taken away from. So if you're spending all of your time on social media, I think there's a great quote from Amanda Palmer where she's talking about this, engaging with the trolls or engaging in comparison. Like, what are you not spending your energy on? And that could be your creative work, that could be like your relationships, that could be going outside and having a walk and feeling like you've had a nice day because of that. So all of those things I think can help. And again, limiting your time on social media, limiting what you see. If you're going through a really tough phase with a comparison, maybe mute or unfollow all the people who are making you feel bad about yourself, and instead follow like positive accounts like art or recipes or cute animals or funny memes. Like, you can curate your social media feeds as well if it's causing you problems.
Yeah, one of my really good friends here, she said, she was like, I don't understand how social media gets to people. Mine is all cleaning products and puppies.
Yeah, you choose what you follow.
I was like, that's ideal. I
Oh
need
my
to start
goodness.
cute.
Sorry.
Oh,
My audio interface just fell down. It's okay. It's still working. It's fine. Oh, and could I just add something to what you were saying about the goals as well?
Mm-hmm.
The goal setting. I think one of the reasons why we wanted to put a goal setting chapter in was also for the reason that you were mentioning about being very clear about why you're doing what you're doing. So what's your definition of success? Because you see people sometimes saying, oh, I want to be massive, I want to be famous, or but be specific. What do you actually want, and why do you want it?
There was a great quote from Imogen Heap talking about how she's not conventionally successful, but in terms of what she wants, you know, she's living the dream, like in terms of writing the music for the Harry Potter score and her amazing gloves and all these other projects that she's able to do. But I think sometimes if musicians are able to be really specific about what they want and why they want it, it can actually sometimes help with that comparison, because if someone else is doing a thing, you know, if you really are connected to why you're doing what you're doing, you know, and if that's about actually sharing your music or connecting with audiences or whatever it is, well, that's great, because actually the most important thing to me is to be connecting with audiences. And actually I'm doing that next week anyway. It doesn't matter I didn't get X festival, I'm still actually fulfilling the reason why I'm a musician.
Well, it's, you know, it's really funny because I was having this conversation with someone where for my own kind of personal, or my career the last couple of years, it was very heavy marketing based, and everything was based on every promotion and increase my income every year. That was like, well done, you're doing good, you must be really loving your job. And then I was like, actually, no, I fucking hated it. I didn't like the people I was working with. I didn't like the stress that the clients were putting me under. And also, why were they doing that? And then, you know, I kind of been breaking down, like, well, why do I like marketing? Why do I not? Do I actually hate it? Do I get out of it? And there's like really deep analysis of it. And I think you're right. It's like, it can't be just about a record deal. It can't be just like, I want to play in front of 20,000 people every night. And I think it is that really annoying image where we're like, oh, that guy had that number one hit. Oh, he's a failure now because I haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Like, Rick Astley's amazing at everyone think, oh, you had a really bad time after, you know, you had that great kind of peak in the 80s and all that. And a lot of people don't realize, like, well, that was his decision, and he actually had a ball. And, you know, now last couple of years, he's come back in by choice. And, you know, that's the problem, is that when someone has some form of success, if it then doesn't maintain on that level or go up, you know, what we're valuing externally might not be what us individually are wanting. And I think that's what we need to remind ourselves. Sorry, that was a long rant. Sorry.
No,
So
great.
true.
I think as well, from the setting goals perspective, it's really important to set them and reevaluate them on a regular basis. For me, like, my goals have changed massively in the last 2 years, mostly because of this whole pandemic, because I've actually been able to sit back and be like, wait, what do I want? And I think it's really important for that to be a consistent thing that people do in music, because as you grow and develop as a musician or an artist or a songwriter or wherever you're in, even in working in the industry side of it as well, your desires and your wants and your needs are going to change pretty consistently. Yeah.
We also talk a bit about basing your goals around values as well. There's a lot of research that has showed how, you know, how helpful this is for sort of well-being, actually identifying the values and the things that really are important to you, and then actually trying to incorporate those somehow into your goals. I did a creativity workshop for the PRS Members Fund earlier this week, and we were talking about goals that they were really struggling with in the pandemic, and motivation and how difficult that's been. And there was one musician, we were talking about whether, looking at values and what was important, and whether the goals that actually people are really struggling with at the moment are actually because they're old goals they set 2 years ago, and they're actually not in line with the values that they're feeling now, which is kind of like what you were just saying. So having this idea of the bigger picture of things that are really important to you can really help with that process too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I